You know that feeling, right? You get this brilliant idea for an app or a website, and then, boom, you hit a wall because you don't know how to code. Well, guess what? That's all changing. Today, we're going to dive into this amazing new world where you can actually build your ideas with AI, no coding required.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? So many of us have the ideas, the creativity is there, but it's that technical barrier, this coding wall that just stops us cold. It's a super common frustration, but it's one that might, finally, have a real solution.
Ah, yes, the classic cryptic error message. We've all been there. You spent hours, maybe days, trying to make something work, and this is what you get. It's so confusing, it's demoralizing, and honestly, it's why a lot of people just give up. It feels like the computer is speaking a totally different language. 'Cause, well, it is.
So let's actually put a name to this thing. We're calling it the Great Coding Wall. And in this first part, we're going to break down what exactly makes it so darn intimidating for pretty much anyone who isn't a professional developer.
It really is a minefield. I mean, before you even write one line of code, you have to fight with these nightmare setups just to get your computer ready. Then you slam into the syntax wall, where, one single missing semicolon can bring the whole thing crashing down. And even if you get past all that, you face the final boss, the deployment disaster, actually getting your project online so people can see it. It's where so many great ideas go to die.
And this, right here, just perfectly sums up the problem. The amount of technical skill you've needed has always felt totally out of whack with the goal. You just want to build this simple website, but the process makes you feel like you have to become a pilot, an engineer, and an air traffic controller all at once. It's just too much.
But here's the really good news. There is now an escape route, and it's powered by AI. So let's talk about this new path forward, one that lets you basically bypass that wall entirely.
Now you're probably thinking, hang on, haven't we had no-code tools like Wix for years? And yeah, you're right, but this is different. Those old tools were pretty rigid, very template-based. These new AI assistants, they're driven by your prompts, which gives you incredible flexibility. But here's the real game changer: freedom. Unlike the old tools that lock you into their platform, these new assistants let you export your code. It's your code. You can take it anywhere.
So, who are these new assistants? I like to think of them as co-pilots for your project, and there are a few different types, each with its own specialty. Let's meet some of the key players so you can figure out which one might be the right partner for your big idea.
Okay, first up, we have the UI specialist. A great example of this is a tool called V0. Its whole job is to handle the visuals, the user interface. You just describe what you want, like a clean pricing page with 3 tiers, and it generates a really professional, polished design for you.
Now this is what's so cool about it. V0 isn't just making a pretty picture, it's actually generating real, professional-grade code using tools that all the pros use, like React. What that means is, if you ever do want to hire a developer down the road to add more features, they can just pick it up and run with it. No need to start over from scratch. Next up is what I'm calling the all-in-one studio, and a great example is Bolt.new. This kind of tool is the solution to that nightmare setup problem we were just talking about. Your entire workflow, from the first prompt to hitting the launch button, all of it happens right inside your web browser. Absolutely zero setup needed on your computer.
And this is the magic. It handles everything in its own little world inside your browser. That means no version conflicts, no weird permission errors, none of those, well, it works on my machine headaches. It just works. Period. So you can focus on your idea, not on being an IT admin.
Our third type is the thinking partner, and Lovable is a perfect example of this. See, instead of just waiting for your commands, this AI acts more like a product manager. It actually talks with you, asking smart questions to help you flush out your idea before it even starts to build anything.
So let's say you tell it you want a simple booking system. It'll come back and ask things like, okay, but should clients be able to reschedule on their own? Or do you want to send automated email confirmations? These are the exact questions a good product manager would ask. It actually helps you figure out what you didn't even know you needed.
Okay, this all sounds absolutely amazing, I know. But let's pump the brakes for a second and do a quick reality check. Because as powerful as these tools are, they're not magic wands. It's really important to know what they can't do so you can use them in the right way.
So, here's the deal. These AI assistants aren't ready to build the next Netflix from the ground up. They have trouble with super complex business logic, they won't automatically secure your app to bank-level standards, and they aren't going to optimize it for 1 million users right out of the box. For that stuff, human expertise is still absolutely key.
Which of course leads to the big question. If these tools are so great, are developers out of a job? And the answer is no, not at all, but their role is definitely changing. So when do you really need to call in a human expert?
Here's the simple answer. Think of developers less as gatekeepers who you need to get started and more as partners for when you're ready to scale. You bring them in for the heavy-duty stuff, professional security audits, tuning your app to handle thousands of users, or building a tricky, custom integration with some other software.
All right, so now that we have a good idea of what's really possible, let's get practical. How do you actually pick the right tool for your project out of all these new options?
You can start with this really simple 3-question guide. First, what are you building? A website for the public or a private tool for your team? Second, do you need a database, which is just a fancy way of asking, do you need to save information, like user accounts or products? That's a huge factor. And third, what's your goal here? Do you want to avoid code at all costs, or are you maybe a little curious and want to peek under the hood to learn as you go?
Now here's a super important detail that a lot of people miss. I call it the deployment gap. Some tools, like Bolt.new, will get your app live on the internet with a single click. It's amazing. But others will just give you a folder full of code, and then it's up to you to figure out the crazy world of web hosting. For a beginner, that can be the final wall that stops a project cold. So definitely watch out for that.
And what about the money? Let's talk cost. Yeah, some of these tools have a monthly subscription, but look at this comparison. Paying, say, $50 a month for an AI that builds for you is a tiny, tiny fraction of hiring a freelance developer for just a few hours of work. The math really speaks for itself here.
So for the first time ever, really, that massive wall between having an idea and actually creating it is crumbling. The tools are here, they're getting easier to use every day, and they're shockingly powerful. The only question left is the most exciting one of all. What are you going to build first?